You know what's hidden in the Australian outback that nobody talks about? Not ruins, but complete towns. Towns with houses still standing, shops stocked with goods, and beds neatly made as if someone is returning home tonight. Places where thousands once lived, raised families, built churches, and buried grandparents. Then everyone vanished. Some were abandoned so abruptly that meals remained on tables. Some were so toxic that the government tried to erase them entirely. Others are so remote they've been forgotten for over a century. And there is one town that appears and disappears beneath a lake, rising only during droughts like a ghost refusing to stay buried. I found 12 of these towns. Let's start the countdown. At number 12 is Fina in South Australia. Situated 550 kilometers north of Adelaide on the edge of the desert, Fina once had 600 residents. The town boasted 2 hotels, general stores, a bakery, a police station, a school, 2 churches, and a railway station. What makes Fina truly remarkable is its origin. The town was named after a government lie. Fina means flower in Latin, and the government promoted this area as fertile wheat country to justify building the railway and encourage settlement. The truth? The land could never support wheat farming due to insufficient rainfall. Imagine being a family in the 1880s. You are told there is fertile wheat land waiting for you, so you sell everything, pack up, and travel for weeks. You arrive at a town literally named Flower, only to discover that the soil cannot grow wheat. Yet, with nothing left to fall back on, families tried for decades. Children perished from heat and isolation. Their graves remain, with legible headstones and heart-wrenching inscriptions marking young lives lost chasing an impossible dream. Over 70 years, the town declined as hope slowly died. The last permanent resident left in 1967, and the railway closed in 1980. Today, volunteers have restored Fina's underground bakery, built to escape temperatures exceeding 50 degrees Celsius. During tourist season, it still produces bread using ovens from 140 years ago. Visitors can stand among golden stone ruins under an endless blue sky while tasting bread baked by families who once struggled to survive here. But the trade-offs are extreme. It's a 1,000-kilometer round trip from Adelaide at minimum. Summer heat is deadly. There are no facilities, and mobile coverage is non-existent. You must be fully self-sufficient. Yet what you encounter is haunting. Stone walls, children's graves, evidence of failed gardens, and the echo of a town built on lies. Fina's name hangs over everything like a cruel joke that took 70 years to lose its sting. Number 11 is Nunes, located 50 kilometers from Lithgow in New South Wales, accessible via an unsealed road through the Blue Mountains wilderness. At its peak, it housed 2,000 people and represented Australia's serious attempt to create a domestic oil industry by extracting kerosene from shale. The town featured massive infrastructure: a hotel, shops, a school, a hospital, railway connections, worker housing for hundreds, industrial retorts, crushing plants, and refining equipment. All this became worthless almost overnight when liquid petroleum became cheaper to extract. A National Parks ranger, who has worked there for 15 years, explained that visitors often expect just foundations or scattered bricks, but instead find massive brick structures resembling industrial England dropped into the bush. Over 90 years, the forest has grown around these buildings, consuming the industrial ambition with nature. The ruins are genuinely unstable. Do not enter them. Nearby, the glowworm tunnel is a remnant of the original railway infrastructure. Number 10 is Whitten in Western Australia. This comes with a serious warning. Do not visit. Whitten was Australia's only blue asbestos mine. At its height, 20,000 people lived and worked here, enjoying modern town amenities including schools, a hospital, a swimming pool, a cinema, and sporting grounds. Children played in the blue dust, unaware it was killing them. One former resident recounted losing multiple family members to mesothelioma. The company and government knew about over 2,000 deaths, but did nothing. Whitten was erased from maps, services were cut, and roads were left unmarked. Only 3 residents refused to leave. Here, the trade-off is not inconvenience, it is your life. Even a single asbestos fiber can cause disease decades later. Learn about Whitten safely. Do not go. Number 9 is Ravenswood in Queensland, 90 kilometers southwest of Townsville. This is a living ghost town, with roughly 150 residents maintaining what 4,500 people once built. In the 1870s and 1880s, Ravenswood rivaled Charter's towers, supporting over 20 hotels, banks, 2 newspapers, a hospital, schools, a courthouse, and a police station. Wealth from gold allowed residents to construct durable stone and brick buildings designed to last generations. A local long-term resident shared that her great-grandparents built their house when 4,000 people lived here. Today, 150 residents preserve the town's legacy. While services are limited and fuel can be scarce, the Victorian streetscapes are stunning. The Imperial Hotel has been in operation since the 1870s, a testament to faded grandeur maintained by a determined few. Number 8 is Cook in South Australia, situated in the Nullarbor Plains Centre, one of the most isolated points on Earth. At its peak, Cook had 200 residents, a swimming pool, a golf course with oiled sand greens, a school for 40 children, a hospital, and homes for railway workers and families. Children grew up, people married, and life unfolded, 800 kilometers from anywhere else. A former resident recounted having birthday parties, school, and Christmas celebrations in the 1970s. It was a normal childhood, just incredibly remote. Cook died when technology made it unnecessary. Steam trains required water every 100 kilometers, but diesel and electric trains did not. Track maintenance became mechanized, and the town's purpose vanished. The Indian Pacific tourist train now offers a 10-minute glimpse at this surreal, deserted community. Number 7 is Jawaja in New South Wales, hidden in a valley 25 kilometers from Midong. One of the first company towns in the state, Jawaja operated under strict company control in 1878. Workers were paid in script usable only at company stores, effectively binding them to debt and dependence. Scottish immigrants built the community, including a school, church, shops, a post office, hotel, hospital, and railway connection. At its peak, 1,100 people lived under this exploitative system. The town collapsed when electric lighting and petroleum made shale-based kerosene obsolete. Today, access is limited to occasional tours by arrangement, but the ruins reveal a harsh story of labor exploitation. Number 6 is Burial Gill in New South Wales, an ongoing tragedy. This asbestos mine employed primarily Aboriginal workers from the local Bunalong community under the same company as Whitten, James Hardy. Aboriginal workers were deliberately exploited. Their lives were deemed less valuable. Generations died from asbestos exposure, yet the mine continued until 1979. Unlike Whitten, the Aboriginal community never fully left. They remained nearby, enduring generational health impacts. This is not tourism. This is learning about corporate negligence and injustice. Number 5 is Old Castalis in New South Wales. There were originally 2 towns called Castalis. The original was bypassed by the railway, forcing residents to move to the new town while carrying the name. Hotels, general stores, churches, a school, a blacksmith, and a sawmill once thrived in the original location. The cemetery remains as a reminder. Most of the site is on private property, with some ruins visible from the road. This is a stark example of how infrastructure decisions destroyed established communities. Number 4 is Big Bell in Western Australia, 600 kilometers north of Perth. Once home to 3,000 residents, this model mining town featured state-built houses, shops, a school, a hospital, a hotel, a recreation hall, an oval, and tennis courts. Sporting teams competed against other towns, and community pride flourished. When the mine closed in 1955 due to depleted gold ore, residents were forced to leave immediately. Today, remnants of gardens, recreation halls, and tennis courts remain, evidence of normal suburban life in an extreme, remote location. Number 3 is Urandry in New South Wales. Located 60 to 80 kilometers from the nearest town via a challenging four-wheel drive track, this remote Blue Mountains settlement once had 2,000 residents. The town featured hotels, shops, a post office, school, hospital, churches, a police station, and even a newspaper. When silver prices collapsed after World War I, the town was abandoned within 1 to 2 years. Today, Urandry is privately owned and preserved. Main Street is walkable. The cemetery contains readable headstones, and mine ruins the hills. Access requires a four-wheel drive, permission from the owners, and careful planning, but the experience is like stepping back in time. Number 2 is Guia in Western Australia, 230 kilometers north of Kalgoorlie, near Leonora. This is Australia's most intact ghost town. Beds remain made, clothes hang in wardrobes, and personal belongings sit on shelves. Life stopped mid-moment and never resumed. The Sons of Guia mine, one of Western Australia's richest, operated from 1897. Herbert Hoover managed the mine as a young engineer from 1898 to 1899. When the mine closed in December 1963, residents were given just 2 days to leave after decades of work. Today, over 40 buildings still stand with interiors preserved. Visitors can walk through streets frozen in time, exploring homes and mine infrastructure. The trade-off is the remote location and extreme heat, but unlike many ghost towns, Guia is publicly accessible. Finally, number 1 is Old Adaminaby in New South Wales. This town is unlike any other because it literally appears and disappears beneath water. Situated in the Snowy Mountains region, it existed from the 1830s to 1956, with hotels, churches, a courthouse, a school, shops, a hospital, and a cemetery. The Snowy Mountains hydroelectric scheme required flooding the town. Buildings that could be moved were relocated, graves exhumed and reinterred, and the rest drowned. Today, during severe droughts, the town resurfaces, with chimney stacks, building foundations, and gray willow skeletons emerging from the lake. Visitors walk on mud that will be 30 meters underwater when rains return. This is the ultimate ghost town experience, a submerged history that occasionally rises, revealing the communities deliberately erased for electricity. These 12 Australian ghost towns reveal hidden, often uncomfortable histories. From Fina's wheatland lies to Guia's perfectly preserved homes, and from Whitten's asbestos tragedy to Old Adaminaby's submerged streets, each tells a story of human ambition, exploitation, and loss. Not all are safe to visit, and some remain haunted by ongoing trauma, but all deserve to be remembered. These towns existed, thrived, and vanished, often abruptly. Their stories challenge the official narratives and reveal the real cost of progress.